yeah, Mike. I mean, I think we can all agree that acquisition is a topic that's on most people's minds at all stage. It's becoming harder. It's a lot more expensive and it's quite complex as well. And so hopefully, like, you guys are going to be able to share some insights on what's working well for your brands. And yeah, if you could do a bit of an intro, name, where you work and what you did.
Yeah, sure. So hi everyone. My name is Siobhan McCaul. I'm the head of beauty brand strategy at AS Beauty rather. So AS Beauty is a beauty portfolio company that owns by originally female founded brands. We've scaled very rapidly over the last 5 years, and this year have been named to WWD's top 100 beauty companies globally, and we're also listed number one for year-on-year sales growth, so the fastest growing beauty companies in the world also, which is very exciting.
Hey guys, I'm Justin Silver. I'm the founder and CEO at Sympoguard. If you're all familiar with Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, all of those GLP-1s have negative side effects like nausea, dizziness, fatigue, and we are minimizing the side effects of GLP-1s.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shari, and I'm the head of public relations at Saatva, which is 15-year-old. You're celebrating my 15th anniversary direct-to-consumer mattress brand, and we were recently named the official mattress and restorative sleep provider for Team USA and LA 2028 Olympics.
And Siobhan, let's start with you. You've led like a major brand evolution with Julep. Like, how do you reposition a heritage brand while still growing aggressively?
Yeah, so it's not the easiest of things to do. But yeah, when I joined Julep as part of the brand incubation team specifically, it was a heritage brand with a loyal customer base. And the first question that I asked of us and of the team, and the main challenge I think was, how do we retain the equity that was built over the last 15 years, and ensure that we keep that at core of the work that we were doing. So I think that, the first thing that team and I would always do was get our ears to the ground and start listening to the customer. So we did a whole host of research of non and current customers. And what we found out was that she was really overwhelmed by, the choice that is in the beauty industry right now. And she really craved simplicity. So we went back to the drawing board and started to look at, what are all the things that we can keep that she loves, and how do we make and deliver on this simplicity promise? So we set about creating a whole host of bundles and kits, which were mood-based kits. So effectively providing her with products and bundles and kits that would align with how she wanted to feel, as opposed to, well, I want, this product because it does this practically or whatever. So I think it's interesting. The approach is working really well for us because, it's, again, keeping what she loves, but also, modernizing the brand and helping her to experience it in a very new and fresh way. But I think with any repositioning work, it's really essential not to throw out the good with the bad, which can be very easy to do. It can be very exciting to think, we're doing a whole repositioning project. But I think, it's really important to kind of ground yourself in doing that work. So yeah, that's how we approached it.
And just a new scale from like 0 to high growth business. Like, what was your first repeatable acquisition win?
Yeah, I'm always thinking about, what is the mousetrap? How do you catch the customer in this way where you can keep catching them over and over? Our first repeatable customer win was ads, right? That's, I think everybody in this room puts up some ads and does it. But we realized specifically for telehealth, we have the opportunity to go into telehealth providers, give customers a free bottle with an auto subscribe. And so you have these telehealth providers who are acquiring customers rapidly. We partnered with them. We give a free bottle of Sympoguard. They auto subscribe to us. And now we have that brand association. So I think what's repeatable is kind of what people know. So if you could get into some kind of brand or mousetrap or marketing, partnership where you're associating yourself with something people already know, that makes it easier for you to win again and again.
And Shari, yours is a bit of a different take on PR, isn't it? And I don't think all brands necessarily like fully invested into how Saxivit can be as a strategy. But your press room has become more than like a newsroom, hasn't it? And how's it evolved into an acquisition channel for the brand? And has it had any measurable impacts on new customer growth?
Absolutely. So Saatva's press room is not just an archive of what we've done. It's now who we know and how we're telling our story. I never would have thought that AI would have resurrected the press release, but it did. And I'm here for it. Thank you, ChatGPT. But we're using the press room to now speak to customers because it is also a digital platform. It is something that I write and my team writes with, really to be in interests of why this product is unique, how it's special in the market, what is our unique proposition, and how it really supports their sleep experience. We're seeing that that content is also resonating beyond the blog, which does an incredible job of explaining different sleep issues and health issues. The press room creates a special moment where we're celebrating who we are as a brand, the things that we're actively doing, such as our partnership with LA 2028 and various Olympiads nationwide. And it's really doing something that is telling a story that it just in a more contextual way. And I think that's the way that customers are now shopping. It's definitely more contextual. It's more we can write differently than maybe the standard copy that lives on the PDP. You can really create those moments that are interesting to those consumers and tell our story and celebrate our products and the things that we do in a way that's meaningful. We are now seeing that the press room, since its inception in 2022, has grossed nearly $150,000. So it's starting to grow. It's really starting to pick up, and customers are shopping through channels that we never thought of really monetizing. So it's really special to see that. And I think that other brands can start to think about the content that they're putting out for the media and for third-party affiliates and think about how they could tell it in a really special, unique, and authentic way because they know their customers. You know your customers best.
And Siobhan, what does a high impact influencer strategy look like for you guys now? And how are you aligning that with your performance goals?
Yeah, so influencer marketing isn't linear like it used to be. We're in a very, very different space now. Before we could send a product and the influencer post and we would make a sale. And it, I'm probably sometimes oversimplifying it, but it really was much more simple than what it is now. Now, an influencer strategy needs to have, multiple layers. And I think at the heart of any good influencer strategy is really cultural relevance. So, people are very savvy now. They understand when they're, seeing an ad. And I think there's, of course, a level of tolerance because they know that their favorite influencer is now earning a living that way. And I think there's a broad acceptance of that. I think when there isn't an acceptance or when it can kind of work against us is when we partner with people, maybe for the reasons of to leverage their reach, but it doesn't fit. So maybe our values don't fit with that influencer, or maybe the conversations that they're naturally having don't align with conversations that we're having as a brand. And then, as I mentioned, you really work against you. And I think when you can work with influencers that do align best with your brand, that's when you can truly drive loyalty and show up again and again on that influencers as part of that influencers conversations. And I think structurally, it's really important, and we do this internally at AS Beauty, is we think about our strategy in two different parts. So we differentiate our influencers from our UGC content creators. And, anybody that works in this space in the room will already know that they can do two very different things, and as they should. So with influencers, you are buying reach, you're buying into the trust that they have built already in their community and their credibility and all of those great things. Whereas with a UGC content creator, we're really buying their expert ability to create amazing content and to supply us with assets that we can use across our channels and in particular for paid advertising. I think when the real impact is when you use both together, and that's really kind of when the magic happens. And then I guess my last point on this would just be that for influencers, we need to think beyond the basics with them. Yes, they can share or do your brand storytelling for you and in a really incredible, engaging way. But actually, not working with them beyond that is leaving something on the table. Then when I mention that, I mean things like having them lead your in real life events, having them part of your product development strategy, whatever that might look like. I think there are other ways to work with influencers to really help drive and have an amazing influencer marketing strategy for your business.
Yeah, it ties it a little bit back into that community piece as well, doesn't it? And bringing everything back into that. And Justin, what's your approach to full funnel marketing when you're introducing like a more complex product that needs like a lot more education behind it? I imagine it supplements like you've got to really get explaining and helping people understand the why a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a great question. No one knows who you are. No one knows what you do. How do you go from that to I'm clicking purchase and I'm going to come back again? We view it as 7 touch points. On average, you need to touch someone 7 times before they're going to make their first purchase. So what is that first touch point? It's often an ad. You're spending money. They're going to see that ad. But if they see the same ad 7 times, you're not moving them down that funnel. So you want to think about yourself. Everyone in here is a customer. What's a brand that you didn't know 6 months ago that you've now purchased their product? Well, maybe you first saw an ad, then you saw it in a retail store, then your friends told you about it. Then you got that ad where it was like a discounted price, and maybe you got hit with that. And on the 3rd time, you said, you know what, let me just try it. And if that product works, you're in. So it's really thinking through that customer journey. How do you use, an omni-channel strategy to show up and touch that customer 7 times in a cost-effective way, or as cost-effectively as you can, to get them to purchase?
And Shari, you mentioned using press content to train AI and fuels the visibility and emerging search experiences. How's that shaping like your top of funnel acquisition strategy?
So just piggybacking on what Justin said, sometimes a touch point can be PR.
Absolutely.
So it can be, a mention in Architectural Digest about, the best mattresses for back pain. So we're using what is working well in terms of driving traffic to help us think about what other contextual, again, questions are related to that, and making sure that our content speaks to those important issues. So if we know that this is a big issue, back pain, what else is related to that? It's restless nights. It's this, so I can start to build a narrative about what our brand does or what our products do based on those other contextual things that we know shoppers are shopping or thinking about at the time of a purchase or our product. So we're having AI really help us to come up with those ideas based on what they're seeing trends and other research to create, again, that content that's meaningful, powerful, delivered ideally by a third party to give it that endorsement or validation, again, Esquire to, an Everyday Health, to really help tell that story, but again, tell it in a way that is meaningful and it not directly addresses, it touched upon some of the other meaningful topics related to something that we know our customers are thinking about. So AI is really helping us to surface those insights, and really excited about what it's generating.
And jumping up one day. How many people here, just raise your hand, know the meaningful content algorithm? Raise your hand. Okay, so this is what's driving every single person's feed. Every minute you spend on Instagram and TikTok, it's all driven by this meaningful content algorithm. And so that's where the influencer power is less there. But I love what Shari was saying. It is about what's meaningful. So those content creators who create something where you watch that video, you share it, you comment on it, you like it, that becomes more meaningful. And thus the algorithm pushes it out to more people. So when you're thinking about content and how to get out there, touch points, all that stuff, take some time, look up the meaningful content algorithm, and understand this completely new dynamic that 5 years ago did not exist. And it's driving all of our feeds, really like most of America, and how we think. The meaningful content algorithm is critical to understand for all of your businesses.
And Siobhan, looking at different campaigns, things that you're running, what signals are you looking for early on whether something's going to scale, whether it's going to stall, or whether it's going to flop?
So I think that we're really good at reading the early signals, and so within hours, I'm jumping on and checking engagement. Is she sharing, liking, commenting? And is there that really, is there momentum early? Within days, we're, looking at things like site traffic, branded search, layering in, conversion metrics like, repeat customers, customer acquisition costs, and all that great stuff. But I think, before that, we're doing work in the background where we already know, or at least believe, based on our research and insights that we've done pre-campaign, that there's already momentum there. So, for example, we ran a really successful campaign with one of our brands, Cover X, which was called the Hickey Magic campaign. And that was actually a campaign that we ran around Valentine's Day, because we noticed a trend on TikTok that in the days that followed Valentine's Day, there was a huge spike in all the romantics in the world searching how they would cover their hickeys. And so we created, one of the key products of that brand is they have a high coverage foundation. And we thought, okay, here we are. We're gonna lean in here. So in a very, relevant, culturally relevant moment, we thought, okay, so we already had, an idea that there would be that level of momentum anyway. However, if that was not the case, we're very quick to pivot. We don't sit on that. If we find something isn't, landing as we hoped, we will change out our creative opener, change our hook, do whatever we need to do before we'll scale spend. And I think, campaigns with that are going to be successful would have that high energy from the beginning. I have yet to see a campaign that, builds momentum midway through. So I would suggest, be quick off the mark if it's not working for you. And don't hold on to something if it's just because it's exactly, it's a good idea. I love it. Yeah, we were excited by it. It may not land, but in that case it did.
And Justin, as like a subscription brand, how are you balancing like the acquisition and the retention spend and where you should be focusing your energy? Obviously, it's got to be everywhere.
Yeah, you can't be everywhere for sure. Luckily for us, we have this partner element where if you're taking a GLP-1, for as long as you do that, if you are taking Sympoguard, you'll take it for that long time. So our biggest focus is on acquisition. The retention kind of does itself. But that said, we do have some really good way-backed elements where we started working with a company called Ignite Post. Happy to make an intro. Great people. But when someone unsubscribes, it sends a handwritten letter to their house from me asking them about it. And there's like these robots in a warehouse in Boston, and they're just writing handwritten letters constantly. It's crazy, but it is real. And so it costs about $3, but our win back rate is really high. Our customer also skews slightly older, typically above 55. And so you just have to know your customer, know how they work. And a handwritten letter to someone who's 62 years old, like my mom, that's it. She'll buy anything. And so, really knowing your customer and focusing on doing it effectively.
And they'll be telling all the friends about that letter as well, won't they? Like, oh my God, I got a letter from this company, telling me how much I mean to them. And it works.
Yeah.
Shari, for brands that are new to PR and it's not something that they've trialed before, how can they realistically use it as part of their acquisition strategy without having huge budget?
It's really about knowing what you want to say and how you uniquely fit into the market. PR is a controlled narrative. I am talking about Saatva in the way that, it fits into the market. We're not for people who want bed in a boxes. We're not for people who want, a $50,000 mattress or whatever the case may be. We're for people who want a very specific type of mattress, or one of the ones that we offer. And we're just really excited about finding those touch points, whether it's with creators, through events. Again, sometimes we'll bring creators into stores to really help tell different elements of our brand or of our story that is meaningful to them, whether it's the eco-friendly sustainability. So it's really, again, figuring out how you uniquely fit, creating those moments, creating those partnerships with creators, with the media, with the press. The press release is back. We have a way to really communicate and tell our stories not only on our platforms, but of course to share with others on our behalf. So I think those are the ways that are just easy ways to start. Just don't neglect those basics and those relationships that you have both with creators and with the media and with other tastemakers and fans of the brand.
Amazing. And quick fire round for everyone. What's one acquisition channel that more brands should be investing in today?
I would say search intent UGC, 30 to 45 second verticals.
Owning the likeness of UGC content creators and then remixing them with AI-driven voices to create unlimited content.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Wow. I mean, something that's been really successful for us is it's been our LinkedIn strategy. It's really kind of using our existing content and leveraging it on a platform that we hadn't fully expected or imagined. It's doing really, really well in terms of having and getting engagement with other tastemakers and leaders in the space.
Thank you so much, guys. That was really insightful.